Hello, my name is Esmeralda Cervantes, and I'll be going over the concept of the communication accommodation theory from chapter 9. So basically, the communication accommodation theory is the way communicators sometimes adapt their behavior towards others. This, for example, the book goes over when talking to older people or even talking to children, we use a certain tone or speed when communicating. And the book does go over, like when you're talking to somebody older, you might be louder, or you might talk slower, or you might use baby speech for anybody 4 years and younger. So I would like to discuss an event that actually occurred at a Disney store here in San Antonio, and how we explain Toys for Tots to children and then to adults. So basically, in my situation, the children that I had explained the information to, it was a speech like, oh, children don't have toys for when they wake up in the morning. They are very less unfortunate than others. They don't have things that others do. So we're trying to gather a lot of toys so that when they wake up, they'll have them. That's a speech I gave for the children. While for the adults, we went into how the fundraiser was made, that Marines did this in the 1960s. We talked a lot about the foundation and how it is going to go to children of less, have the less. So that was our speech towards the adults. In my situation, I did have a child that was maybe about 9 or 10, and I did the child speech that children are less unfortunate, and there might be some in his class, and you never know. And he kind of looked a little bit annoyed that I was giving him this child speech, and he wanted to know a lot more about the information, like, well, how did this start? Who started it? How do I give to the community? And me and my cast members, we were very shocked to hear something of his words coming out of his mouth. And we were very surprised, and it almost brought us to tears because he was so understanding for somebody of his young age. So now that I discussed this experience, I did want to go over that I dropped the baby talk or my accommodation towards him, and I spoke to him like a regular, somebody that was older and understood the situation. So I had a theory that yes, you have to adapt to people, I believe, but get to know where they are first, and then know their framework, and then from there you can go around and say, oh, they are right here, or you can do this with them. And I have learned that through this experience that people, when they communicate, could either accept what you're trying to say, or they do have a bad reaction towards it. So now that I made some inferences, I would like to discuss how these can be transferred to other situations. It can definitely be transferred to any situation in general, and being open-minded to many of the different possibilities, in your everyday life. Do not go assuming. So in conclusion, by reading from our text, it does help me understand how there can be differences between how people of the same age group have higher and lower context levels of communication. It is sometimes tough to assume, and we do not want to go assuming what children and adults and their style of communication is. So I think what we can gain from this experience is that people tend to have different framings, and we cannot just assume that they fall under a certain category. So overall, I like to leave with this. If one does not understand a person, one tends to regard him as a fool. And this is by C.J. Jung. Thank you very much.